Hello and welcome. This is Aso TV News. I am Tina Oje Achu. The headlines. Vice President Shetima others advocate better budgeting system. House of Reps Committee directs CBN to suspend funds to ZTE Corporation on Abuja CCTV deal. Chief of Staff to President Tinubu Gbajabiamila plots FCT Minister over Hyper City Care for Investment deal. And the International Monetary Fund cuts Nigeria 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% amid Middle East war fallout. And now the news in detail. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has highlighted the imperative of developing a more realistic and sustainable budgeting process tied to the country's quest for development. The Vice President, represented by Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, Tokwe Fasao, made the remark at the beginning of a two-day national policy dialogue organized by the National Assembly Joint Committee on National Planning and Economic Development on Tuesday in Abuja, with the theme, The Imperatives of National Development Plan for Effective Budgeting System and Sustainable Growth of the Nigerian Economy. He said that two-day discourse was formed around how, as a country, Nigeria can quicken its pace of development by integrating national development plans more with the yearly budget and projects into the medium and long term for the country. Other dignitaries, including former Director General, Budget Office, Ben Akabueze, supported the Vice President in their separate remarks.
The moment to echo the thoughts of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Minister, indeed the Minister of Budget and Planning, to the extent that our budgets should not only be people-focused, but our budgets should actually be larger than they are presently. Some critics, of course, have opined that Nigeria should have a much smaller budget, but they need to be reminded that budgeting is not a process of ruining our past shortcomings and capitulating to our limitations, but indeed a process by which we document our greater future and challenge ourselves to do even better than the past.
In our own case, the MTEF is prepared on a 3-year rolling basis. Then we have the medium-term sector strategies, which on a sectoral basis breaks down the national goals into sector-specific actions. And then the public investment plan. We have a public investment management framework that to reduce these to plans focus on projects that will drive growth in different areas.
We must bind together the one unbroken chain in the process of planning and budgeting. No ministry or agency should act aloof, because the common agenda is to make the planning meet with the budget for the general good of all Nigerians.
The House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating the $416 million closed-circuit television surveillance project in the Federal Capital Territory has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend any further disbursement to ZTE Corporation pending satisfactory explanations on the execution of the contract. This is as lawmakers express deep frustration about what they described as inconsistencies, vague responses, and a lack of transparency from ZTE officials regarding the scope, deployment, locations, and current operational status of the project. At a sitting on Tuesday at the National Assembly, the committee, following adoption of resolution of a motion by members, mandated the company to reappear with comprehensive and verifiable documentation. This includes a detailed inventory of all equipment supplied and installed, precise locations of the infrastructure nationwide, as well as the identities and contact details of the 456 Nigerians the company claims were trained to operate and maintain the system. Representative of the company, Irene Momo, had told the lawmakers ZTE supplied and installed CCTV infrastructure in Abuja and Lagos, noting that the project was completed between 2011 and 2012. He, though, admitted uncertainty about the current functionality of the system, sparking strong reactions from lawmakers who questioned how a project of such magnitude could lack a sustainable maintenance and continuity framework. In his opening remarks, the committee's chairman, Mr. Donald Ojogo, clarified that the exercise was not a witch hunt, but a fact-finding mission aimed at addressing growing public concern. The federal government has described the recent airstrike in the Gili axis of Bobio local government area, Borno State, as a precision counter-terrorism operation under Operation Hadinke carried out by the Nigerian Air Force. It insisted that the operation was not indiscriminate, stressing that the area had long been designated a high-risk zone with security advisories restricting civilian movement. This was contained in a statement signed by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, which provided an official account of the airstrike that reportedly resulted in some civilian casualties. According to the statement, the operation was based on sustained intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, which identified the Gili axis, locally known as Kaso Daolaye, the terrorist market, as an insurgent controlled enclave used for logistics, levy collection, and attack coordination by Boko Haram and the ISWAP elements. He further said the assessment was reinforced on 12 April 2026 following the arrest of a 15-year-old ISWAP courier, Tijani, in Ngamdu, who allegedly admitted to moving funds and logistics between Gili and other locations, underscoring the exploitation of civilians, including minors. He also cited confirmation from Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, who reportedly said that Gili and Buzaburi markets were officially closed 5 days ago due to insurgent control, describing the area as a known terrorist hub. Authorities added that the Bindu-Gili axis had been identified as a major terrorist corridor, noting previous incidents including an IED attack in January 2026 and coordinated attacks in Ngamdu and Benishek on 9th April linked to the same network. It stated that following weeks of surveillance, the Nigerian Air Force, in collaboration with the Nigerian Army, confirmed the presence of terrorist elements before executing the strike, aimed at disrupting supply lines and degrading insurgents' capacity. The federal government has ordered a full and independent investigation into the incident to review intelligence, targeting, and execution processes, and to ensure accountability where necessary. It added that operational safeguards will be strengthened while reaffirming that the protection of civilian lives remains a core obligation of the armed forces. The Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, has commended the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwo Yesunwike, for his pivotal role in securing the landmark partnership between Hypercity and Carrefour, describing it as a strong vote of confidence in Nigeria's economy. Speaking on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the signing ceremony in Abuja, Bajabiamila said the collaboration signals a new phase of retail expansion and investment growth in the country. Here is a Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Bajabiamila.
It is my distinct honor and privilege to stand before you today as a representative of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to mark this truly momentous occasion. The formal collaboration and franchise signing, which we have just witnessed, between Hypercity and Carrefour in Nigeria. This is not merely the signing of a business agreement. It is a statement of confidence. Confidence in Nigeria's ceremony of confidence in Nigeria's people and in the business opportunities that lie within this great nation. On behalf of His Excellency, I extend our warmest congratulations to the leadership and teams of Aso City and Carrefour. Your decision, I must say, to ride your strengths, your brands, and your vision on Nigerian soil is a testament to the fact that Nigeria remains, without question, the premier destination for investments and enterprise on the African continent. Now, this partnership will bring world-class retail experiences to Nigerian consumers, create thousands of jobs for a young and talented workforce, and deepen the integration of Nigeria into global supply chains.
That was the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. Science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship education have been described as the bedrock for growth and development in modern society. Acting Executive Chairman FCT UBEP, Mrs. Florence Dawon Wenegeme, made this known at the maiden edition of the Science, Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship Education Stakeholders Meeting in Abuja. Paulina Adojo was there and now reports.
Described as a move which seeks to improve current method of teaching science, technology, and related subjects in FCT schools. The meeting brought together stakeholders from the 6 area councils in the FCT education sector to brainstorm on how to make basic science more innovative. In her speech, Acting Executive Chairman FCT UBEP, Mrs. Florence Dawon Wenegeme, while emphasizing the importance of basic science education, says the initiative aligns with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda.
The Renewed Hope agenda has focused on entrepreneurship, skill acquisition, and that is very important. We want our students, after their basic education, they should be job creators. They should be employers and not job seekers. If they're able to get a job, fine. If they don't get, they should be able to become self-reliant and at the same time, even provide jobs for others.
In his remarks, Mandate Secretary, FCT Education Secretariat, Dr. Danlami Hayu, called on critical stakeholders in the FCT education sector to encourage dynamic and innovative way of teaching basic science, technology, and innovation. This, he noted, breeds critical thinking by students and pupils in the FCT.
We are trying to change the system of teaching in FCT to make sure that each child, after finishing the secondary school or junior secondary, at least have some few things that he can be able to do or create by himself so that he can depend on himself. See, majority of the developed countries nowadays, the government just give job opportunity to less than 5%. But in Nigeria, it's contrary.
In a goodwill message, Director, Department of Science, Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, FCT, Deaconess Angela Nwachukwu, emphasized the need for stakeholders to periodically come together and rub minds as a way of encouraging basic science learning within the FCT. The event, according to stakeholders, marks a significant milestone in developing a sustainable blueprint for teaching and learning of science education, technology, and entrepreneurship education at the basic levels in the FCT. Paulina Adojo, Aso Television News.
The chairman of Abajere Council and FCT APC's senatorial aspirant Alhaji Abubakar Omar Abdullahi has joined other prominent stakeholders from the Federal Capital Territory at the National Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress, where they held a crucial meeting with the party's National Working Committee. The engagement, which took place ahead of the forthcoming state and local government congresses, was aimed at strengthening internal party cohesion, and ensuring a smooth, transparent, and credible process across all levels of the exercise. Speaking during the briefing, the stakeholders emphasized the importance of unity, fairness, and strict adherence to the party's guidelines in the conduct of the congresses. They also reiterated their collective commitment to upholding democratic principles within the party. Alhaji Abubakar Omar Abdullahi, in his remarks, underscored the need for inclusiveness and collaboration among party members, noting that a peaceful and well organized Congress would further consolidate the APC's strength in the FCT. The National Working Committee commended the delegation for their proactive approach and assured them of the party's leadership's readiness to ensure a hitch-free exercise that reflects the wishes of members at the grassroots. The meeting is seen as a significant step in preparations for the Congresses as the APC continues to position itself for greater electoral success in future political contexts. You're watching Aso Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on Star Times TV channel 127 and Free TV channel 507. We are also on the YouTube band on channel 38. Still to come, International Monetary Fund cuts Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% amid Middle East war fallout. Stay with us for details of these and more stories shortly.
3 years of debt.
Thank you for your 3 years of sacrificing.
I thought you have an interview tomorrow.
Why are they shutting down the entire complex? It's just a company that crashed.
Alpha, did you hear about the golden bars thing?
Did they make a million or zillion?
More like crashed out.
You will not believe who invested in golden bars. Sister, talk fast. Isa.
Isa, who be this? Isa, why police they find you?
Tell them, tell them that did not steal the money. Tell them that you invested it.
You don't have the authority to arrest anyone, let alone hold someone here over a loan.
Wait, now.
You should have seen the way they covered everywhere. They even broke the gate and then stormed the office.
No, don't pay my money complete.
When I catch T-Boy, let's get our money back. Yes.
Many thanks for joining us again. A former chief executive of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Professor Muhammad Sani Haruna, has stressed that peace and unity remain the bedrock of national development, urging residents of Nasarawa State to harness their cultural and ethnic diversity as a source of strength rather than division. Professor Haruna was speaking during a symposium organized in his honor by supporters and political associates in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Tapsi Gimba has the details.
Speaking at the event, Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna said his aspiration was not about personal ambition but a commitment to service and sustainable development. He said it is not about seeking for a name for about service. Professor Haruna emphasized that peace and unity will remain the foundation of his administration if elected, noting that Nasarawa's diversity must be harnessed as a strength rather than a source of division.
I can remain somewhere until I get a Nobel Prize award. Because many have offered me places to go. And I decided, let me remain here. So let me tell you, it's not because I'm looking for a name. If I want name, I will only aim at Nobel Scientific Prize, not any other prize or name. So therefore, I want to have what we call hujja. If you don't vote for me, I will say to Allah, I have offered my service, they didn't accept. Not to sit in the fence. If God make it possible.
Earlier, the guest speaker at the symposium, Dr. Abubakar Salisu Mekaswa, delivered a lecture on democracy, governance, and leadership, stressing that credible elections and accountable leadership are the bedrocks of development. Dr. Mekaswa emphasized the role of leadership in shaping society. He said societies need competent, honest, visionary, and empathic leaders, warning against selfish, nepotistic, and arrogant leadership.
It must be characterized by these values listed by the UN. What can we say about leadership? Without the required political leadership, democratic governance, good governance, and sustainable development cannot be realized. It is reasonable to argue that the required leadership is the driving force for good governance and attainment of sustainable development. Political leadership.
Nigeria has received its Civil Aviation Master Plan from the International Civil Aviation Organization at a Global Aviation Symposium in Marrakech. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, accepted the document during the opening session of the ICAO Global Implementation Support Symposium. The 20-year plan, spanning 2025 to 2045, outlines a comprehensive roadmap to transform Nigeria's aviation sector through infrastructure upgrades, advanced technology, and workforce development. Speaking at a ministerial roundtable, the minister also highlighted efforts to address skills gaps in the aviation industry.
In preparing for aviation's growth, our approach is centered on three priorities. The first is workforce forecasting, planning, and monitoring. We believe states must move from reactive staffing approaches to evidence-based workforce planning. In Nigeria, we are strengthening coordination among the Civil Aviation Authority, training institutions, service providers, airlines, airports, and other industry stakeholders to better identify current and emerging skill gaps across the aviation ecosystem. The second is bridging the gap between education, training, and industry needs. We also recognize the importance of ensuring that training outputs match operational realities. The third is advocacy and inclusion, reaching all communities. Aviation cannot secure its future workforce if it continues to draw from only a limited segment of society.
The plan focuses on modernizing airports, improving safety standards, developing aerotropolis hubs, and attracting private sector investment, particularly in maintenance and cargo facilities. It is also aligned with national development goals and global sustainability standards, reinforcing Nigeria's commitment to building a competitive and future-ready aviation sector. The Economic Community of West African States Commission is advancing a regional initiative to strengthen disability inclusion across West Africa through a disability data accountability framework. This was validated during a regional experts meeting held in Abuja, where representatives of member states, national institutions, and development partners gathered to improve the collection and use of disability disaggregated data for evidence-based policy making. ECOWAS say the move is aimed at addressing the lack of reliable and comparable data, which has often left persons with disabilities invincible in national development planning. Participants at the meeting, including representatives from the African Union Commission and UNICEF, stressed that stronger data systems will help government design inclusive policies, improve monitoring mechanisms, and ensure better allocation of resources for persons with disabilities. Meanwhile, ECOWAS also marked its 50th anniversary with a commemorative ceremony in Lomé, Togo. The event, organized by the ECOWAS Permanent Representation in Togo in collaboration with agencies and institutions of the regional body, brought together nearly 800 participants, including government officials, diplomats, and development partners from across the region. Speaking at the ceremony, ECOWAS resident representative to Togo, Dawe Emily Gray, highlighted the organization's achievements since its establishment in 1975, particularly in promoting free movement, economic integration, and regional peace. Togo's Minister of Finance and Budget, Esowe George Bakola, also commended ECOWAS for its role in strengthening cooperation and stability in West Africa, expressing hope that a Golden Jubilee will usher in a stronger and more inclusive community focused on shared prosperity. The International Monetary Fund has downgraded Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.1% as the economic fallout from the Middle East war continues. The revision was announced at the IMF and World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C., where officials warned that war related energy and supply shocks are undercutting recovery across the region. IMF Chief Economist Per Olivia said the downgrade reflects broader pressures facing energy supporting countries. The impact, he said, is very much along the lines of what is seen more broadly for a lot of the countries, especially the ones that are energy importers. He added that the fund is following with a number of countries what their needs may be in the current environment and coordinating with the International Energy Agency and the World Bank on energy market disruptions. Speaking further, the chief of the IMF Research Department's World Economic Studies Division, Dens Igan, said the zero point 0.3 percentage point cut reflects competing pressures. Igan noted that war-related higher fuel and fertilizer prices and higher shipping costs are going to weigh on non-oil activity in Nigeria, adding that there's some offset coming from higher oil prices, but the net balance is weaker growth in 2026, with some recovery built in for 2027. For Nigeria, she said tight monetary policy will be crucial to achieve the inflation target of the central bank. The Athletics Federation of Nigeria has released a 24-man squad for the forthcoming World Athletics Relays scheduled for May 2nd and 3rd in Botswana. The list made public yesterday by the AFN's technical committee following the completion of entries includes veteran athletes such as Patient Okon, John, George, Blessing Ogudiran, Chidi Okeze, Emmanuel Ojeli, Enoch Adekoke, and Favor Ogene Pejiri, alongside new faces in Gafari Badmos, Ezekiel Eno Asukwo, Jacinta Lawrence, Tohibat Jimo, and Tejiri Godwin. Team Nigeria will compete in all 6 relay events, the men's and women's 4 by 100 meters and 4 times 400 meters, as well as the mixed 4 times 100 meters and 4 by 400-meter relays. The competition marks a historic occasion for the host nation, and it will be the first time Botswana has hosted a World Athletics Series event. World Athletics. Beyond the prestige of the occasion, the stakes are high for all competing nations. According to the Global Athletics ruling body, the Gaborone edition serves as the primary qualification event for the relay event at the World Athletics Ultimate Championship in Budapest in September, as well as the World Athletics Championship in Belgium in 2027. And that's the bulletin, but before we go, let's take another look at one of our major stories. Chief of Staff to President Tinubu, Femi Gbajabiamila, has applauded FCT Minister Barrister Wike over the Hyper City and the Carrefour investment deal. And that's the news. I am Tina Oje at you. Thanks for watching.